Welcome to today's Explainer. We're unpacking one of the absolutely most damaging yet kind of rarely discussed workplace dynamics out there. We're talking about what happens when a manager becomes psychologically competitive with their own direct report. Think about it. Instead of seeing your success as a massive win for the team, the whole dynamic flips. And suddenly, your success is treated like a personal threat.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like your success was actually a threat to your boss? It's an incredibly isolating feeling, right? You're putting in the work, you're delivering excellent results, and instead of getting a high five or a promotion, you're just met with weird friction. Well, if you've ever felt this, I want you to know you're definitely not alone, and it's absolutely not all in your head. Today, we're breaking down the science and psychology behind exactly why your achievements might be triggering your manager's deepest insecurities. All right, here's our quick roadmap for today. 1. The hidden workplace rivalry. 2. Inside the manager's mind. 3. Spotting the warning signs. 4. The ripple effect. And finally, number 5, strategies to survive. Let's jump right into section 1. The hidden workplace rivalry. When success becomes a threat. Okay, so when a manager starts feeling threatened by your competence or your visibility, their professional judgment just completely distorts. It's like they start filtering every single piece of information about you through this thick lens of self-protection. Fueled by things like insecurity, envy, resentment, or even status anxiety, they start minimizing your accomplishments. And why? Just to protect their own ego. Because this person holds the literal keys to your performance reviews and your career advancement, this skewed judgment is incredibly dangerous for you.
Moving on to Section 2, Inside the Manager's Mind, the Pathology of Jealousy.
To really understand this, we have to look at the root cause, which fundamentally comes down to the scarcity mindset. This is the totally false zero-sum belief that recognition, influence, and opportunities are strictly finite. Basically, an insecure leader operating under this mindset believes that if you get credit, they inherently lose credit. If you get praised, they automatically look less impressive to everyone else. Now, we know it's a fabricated zero-sum game, but to them, it feels incredibly real, and it fuels some intensely competitive behavior.
Think about how a healthy, secure leader operates. They look at a highly talented direct report and naturally ask themselves, how can I help this person grow? They're engaging in what's called upward comparison. They're looking to elevate their team, viewing your capabilities as a fantastic asset that they want to develop and nurture. But an insecure manager, they make a really dangerous mental shift. They engage in downward social comparison. Your accomplishments suddenly become this uncomfortable mirror, reflecting their own limitations or unrealized ambitions back at them. So instead of asking how they can help you grow, they start asking, wait, what does this person's success say about me?
And you know, this whole pathology exists on a spectrum. On one end, you've got unconscious bias. This is where the manager genuinely thinks they're being fair, but they somehow remember your mistakes way more vividly while dismissing your successes as just, mere luck. But on the other end is conscious suppression. And wow, this is where it gets toxic. They recognize their bias, but they actually lean into it. They deliberately withhold praise. They actively block you from visibility opportunities. Or, the absolute worst, they straight up take credit for your hard work. This is intentional career obstruction.
Which brings us to Section 3, Spotting the Warning Signs. Is it tough management or sabotage?
We absolutely need to draw a clear line here, because let's be real, not every critical manager is just jealous of you. A tough but legitimate manager explains their concerns clearly, holds you to consistent standards, and they actually celebrate your successes when you hit them. A biased manager, on the other hand, relies heavily on vague criticisms they can never quite articulate. Their standards are these weird moving targets, and most tellingly, they actually become increasingly negative the more successful you get.
So if you're trying to figure this out, your crucial diagnostic test comes down to this one question. If another employee achieved the exact same result you did, would your manager react differently? If the answer is yes, then insecurity is hijacking their professional judgment. This is your foolproof way to validate what you're actually experiencing.
You also want to keep an eye out for a few specific red flags. First, moving goalposts. This means the minute you achieve a target, a brand new standard mysteriously appears, so you just literally never win. Then there's disproportionate scrutiny, where your tiny, everyday errors are magnified, but your major victories are totally ignored. And perhaps the most dangerous of all is narrative manipulation. This is where your boss selectively shares information with upper leadership to slowly, quietly build a negative perception of you over time, all while actively blocking you from high-profile projects.
Section 4, the ripple effect, the organizational fallout.
Now, this collateral damage doesn't just stay between you and your boss. It spreads across 3 levels. For you, the employee, it causes chronic self-doubt, total burnout, and this exhausting cycle of trying to earn approval that's literally impossible to get. At the team level, innovation drops, psychological safety completely vanishes, and everyone else learns a really tragic, unspoken lesson. Whatever you do not outshine the person in power. Mediocrity is safer. And ultimately, the whole organization pays the price through rampant talent hoarding and the eventual turnover of their absolute best people.
All right, let's get to the solutions in Section 5. Strategies to survive. Taking back your agency.
To survive this, you have to separate reality from their fabricated narrative. First, obsessively document your deliverables, your metrics, and any positive feedback you get so you have an objective, bulletproof record. Second, build a broader cross-departmental reputation so your entire career isn't tethered to just one manager's story. Seek objective feedback from your peers, avoid falling into the approval trap, make sure you manage your emotions strategically. And finally, invest heavily in your own career mobility. Because honestly, sometimes the only real solution is finding a completely different reporting structure.
I really want to hammer this particular point home. Focus on excellence rather than validation. Do not fall into the trap of working longer and harder just to try and earn a gold star from a manager who is actively threatened by you. See, you're trying to solve a performance problem, but the root issue is their jealousy. That validation, it is never going to arrive. So take all that energy and refocus it entirely on your own personal standard of excellence.
And critically, do not mirror their insecurity. Look, I know it is so tempting to get dragged into the mud, to have those heated public confrontations, or to react emotionally when you're being treated unfairly. Don't do it. Protect your own credibility by remaining flawlessly professional and entirely evidence-driven. Let their distorted judgment stand in stark, undeniable contrast to your objective professionalism.
Let's bring this whole explainer together with a real mic drop truth. Leadership is fundamentally a stewardship role. Managers are entrusted with developing talent, not competing with it. The moment personal animosity or envy overrides professional judgment, that person literally stops functioning as a leader.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on today. Is your manager a true leader, or are they just a gatekeeper? The good news is you now have the power to accurately recognize this dynamic, build up your support system, and keep right on growing. Never, ever allow another person's insecurity to define your professional identity. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Now get out there and take control of your narrative.